You found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. On today's episode, we're going to talk about Lonzo Ball and the possibility of him being shut down. We're also going to talk about the Bulls' current chances at a top 4 pick. We're going to get into all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central. And Pat, Chicago Bulls right now are expected at some time over this All-Star break, which we have a couple of days remaining until the Bulls are playing basketball again, to officially announce that Lonzo Ball is being shut down for the remainder of the season. Yep. Your thoughts and feelings?
I think that this is something that they wanted to put off as long as possible to give Lonzo every opportunity to come back. I think that this is probably the biggest derailment to this season, not thinking you were going to get your starting point guard back and then you had to roll into it. And I've already explained, right, like all the ramifications that come from not having Lonzo in the starting lineup. And you have to figure out a way to move on forward from this. I think, honestly, the fact that you're shutting Lonzo down for this second season, you need to be going into next offseason trying to figure out not just how to move forward from this for this season, how to move forward from this as a franchise. You got 2 years left on Lonzo's contract. He's going to be here. It's not a lot of trade value for a guy who hasn't played on a court in a year and a half. So you might as well hope for the best with him and see what's going to happen. But the Bulls need to be going into the next offseason saying we got to figure out where we're going to find a point guard. And I think that needs to be top of the list going into the playoffs, wherever we make it in the second half of this season. Because Russell Westbrook's not going to be the answer. John Wall's not going to be the answer. Patrick Beverley's not going to be the answer, right? Like these are pipe dreams that we're having right now for some hope that we get to the playoffs. But you need to figure out your point guard position going into next season ASAP.
I think, and it makes it more difficult because the Bulls, with this Lonzo Ball news, are put in a unique situation where they have to go into this offseason with 9 players guaranteed under contract, and they're over the salary cap already, not at the luxury tax, but under the salary cap. But they have so many other things that need to be addressed as well on this team. But I agree with you. If Lonzo Ball is not healthy, and you have any inclination, any doubt that he's going to be ready to go at the start of next season, you have to do something there. But then at the same time, you're looking at what you need to do on the rest of your team. And as we know, this team is going to avoid the luxury tax, especially as currently constructed because of ownership. The Bulls, the AK and Eversley aren't in an enviable situation at all, because it's like, not to put everything on this Lonzo Ball injury, but if he's not ready to go next season, it completely changes how you have to attack the free agency. If he's healthy, if you think he's going to be ready to go, you're confident in that. All right, then you got your point guard taken care of, and then you can address the other things. But how difficult is it going to be do you think it's going to be for AK to drastically improve this team with having that contract of Lonzo Ball and not knowing if you're going to get basketball from him next season?
I think it hinges specifically on kind of what we're talking about, right? Like, you can't trust it at this point. You can't go into probably the rest of his career as a Chicago Bull, whatever that is, right? If it's the next 2 years, if he comes back and he's fine, and you go, I wouldn't trust it in any sense, because we know, right, that the knee has issues. We know that this is something that's been an issue before. Now it's going into bone bruise. Now it's lasting even longer, right? Like, we know that there are issues that are going to be around this probably throughout the rest of his career, even if he's able to come back. Doesn't change his IQ, doesn't change more than likely his defensive ability. He was a 3-point shooter, might change the landing and a little bit on the shot. But no matter what, right, like, you need to go into every team that has Lonzo Ball on it and say, hey, we need another guy that is a high IQ point guard that can come off of the bench and be able to make plays for us. So I'm going to be honest with you. I think it fixes a lot of the issues we're seeing right now. Like, I think like a lot of the stuff we see late in games, a lot of the stuff we see that causes the Bulls to go to blow leads, that causes the Bulls to be making dumb decisions. It's just like you got a 2-guard trying to run point for you every time.
I'm gonna fight back on that because that's meaning you're putting a lot of trust in Coach Billy Donovan to actually use a point guard as a point guard at that point. Something we haven't seen.
But you saw the difference that this team had with Lonzo on it. You saw that the ball was in Lonzo's hand and he was facilitating to the guy. Yes, he was playing off ball, but it's still somebody that's bringing the ball up, starting the offense off, and then you can move around from there. It doesn't have to.
But that's not how he used Lonzo. Lonzo didn't bring the ball up and then start the offense. He brought the ball up and literally passed the ball to DeMar, and DeMar started the offense. That's like, I think sometimes we glorify how good that basketball. What's that?
I said that was at a time when DeMar was the offense. Like there was no other offense on that team.
And then we still haven't proven that there is any other thing yet that Billy Donovan's going to go to consistently. And that's always been my thing. Like, I understand this team's need for a point guard, but we got to also realize who our head coach is. And he has not given us any glimmer of light that's how he's going. Now, he does help in transition, but again, that goes back to, okay, how much is Lonzo going to be Lonzo? Is you're not going to get any point guard that simulates exactly what Lonzo did do on this team. Now, you can get another high IQ, high motor point guard, but that still remains is that the same issues that were impacting the Chicago, but we still did have fourth quarter issues. We still did have to win 2 games against teams that we shouldn't have on DeMar DeRozan last-second buzzer beaters on a 9-game winning streak. I have still concerns, and Billy Donovan could go away with the first 10 games in the season. Even if it's Lonzo Ball coming back healthy, if it's anybody who's not, I'll Russell Westbrook. There's the only reason why I felt like, okay, Russ may be different because Billy Donovan trusts him. I don't know if Billy Donovan is going to use a point guard in the halftime, in crunch time, or if he's not going to hit the safety valve of a DeMar DeRozan again, as we've seen his whole time here being the coach, other than the year we didn't have DeMar DeRozan.
Well, I think the thing is, right, like we only saw him with Lonzo for 33 games. We don't really know what that was going to turn into, right? Like nothing about Billy Donovan's history says he's not going to use the point guard. He's used the point guard at every step of the way. Russell Westbrook was overused in his situation, right? And most of us, for the most part, agree with the fact that, hey, listen, like you get a ball to Kevin Durant. But I think, right, like even with working with Shea, playing with Chris Paul, coming over here, right? Like,
the difference in those things, those are all star level point guards who were the focal point also of the offense. Russell Westbrook was the DeMar DeRozan of that offense. Keep in mind, Billy Donovan never coached KD.
Yeah, he did. First year.
It was that first year. Okay, you're right. He did. Yeah, he never had Harden. He never had Harden.
He never had Harden. Yeah.
So it's just, I like I said, I'm only presenting this for the nature of realism. Counterpoint, you could say we never saw what that was going to turn into, but we still never seen it. And so, as I've said with this Bulls team overall, the players, everyone, you got to show me. And so I have some concerns if we're going to actually see that offense that we all think is going to be the offense that we should run. But we've also said the same thing about Vooch, and we have seen a reluctance to go to Vooch when we have clearly played some of our best offensive basketball playing through Nikola Vucevic.
For sure. And I think the tough part is, right, that like we only got a taste of it, and it wasn't versus the best teams in the NBA. Right, like we had a lot of teams that we looked at in that season. Once we started seeing wins, we were like, oh, we should be able to beat them. But I mean, Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan were still the highest scoring backcourt, when Lonzo was on the floor with them. Our defense was exponentially better when Lonzo was on the court with that team, right? And I think now, right, seeing Zach LaVine actually being able to plant and cut, the defense would take another step. And I mean legit defense, right? Like not just the numbers say that we're top 10, but really, we know what it really is with this Bulls team. So I think that, and I don't know if you're going to find that player again. Maybe it's Dalen Terry, right? But the fact that the Bulls were always on the run is the biggest thing that I think set that team apart. This was a team that was built to run. They don't run anymore. This is a team, you got Zach LaVine, Derrick Jones Jr., DeMar DeRozan, Javonte Green, you had Lonzo Ball, right? This was a team that was built to be on the run 90% of the time. Vooch was supposed to be the only one trying to figure out how the heck do I get down here quick enough? And now we're sitting here trying to run these half-court sets with Ayo, and Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan with the ball in their hand 90% of the time. And it's just, to me, right, like I think that's where the Bulls have taken their biggest step back. And so no matter what situation you're in, I think the one thing that we can agree on is you need to find a replacement for Lonzo Ball no matter what, because you don't know if he's going to be 100% in this offense. You don't know if he'll ever be 100% on this team.
You can never bet on it. That's the biggest fear is you can never bet on Lonzo Ball's health for real, until he shows you 2-3 seasons of consecutively of being healthy for the most part. I don't think you can. And then even then, you still that knee at some point
always there. It's a knee.
At some point that knee's always going to cause some concern. But we're going to move on from that. Next up, we're going to get into the Bulls' current chances at their top 4 pick and maintaining their pick. Before we do that, we got to talk about one of our sponsors, and that's Nissan. And Nissan's most electric player of the week is brought to you by the all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya. And so our Nissan electric player of the week has to be Dalen Terry. I think when electrifying is a perfect way to bring it to talk about what he did and his contributions to this team, getting his first meaningful minutes of the season. So with that being said, he really epitomizes the idea of what's behind the Ariya, the 2023 Nissan Ariya. He's electric. He played fierce. He played elegantly, powerful. Sometimes to say that he improved on the shot as well. But with that said, the 2023 Nissan Ariya packs pin you to your seat power and premium intelligence are all-in-one electric vehicle. The all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya, the EV for people who love to drive. Shop now at nissanusa.com. All right, Pat. The Bulls right now sit with a 32% chance at a top 4 pick. And why that is important is that the Bulls' top 4 first round pick is technically owed to the Orlando Magic. As most Bulls fans know, because we've all been talking about it and watching it all season, the only way we keep our pick is if it falls in the top 4. And with the lottery percentages of that, we have a 32% chance of falling in that top 4 area. Does that mean you think the Bulls, it's kind of the question I presented to you last week, do you think the Bulls should tank for that? Or do you think they still play to win and try to get into the playoffs? Where you sit?
I don't think you could chance it. We the Bulls, dog. Like we finished with 7 4 years in a row.
Which is crazy.
We can't. And here's the thing, right? A bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. Right now, you know one thing. You're in a position to make a playoff push. You can add to your team, hopefully going into next year if you make a couple of trades, right? Like I think we're kind of leaning towards the side that DeMar DeRozan probably isn't going to be a part of the Chicago Bulls moving forward. Hopefully, right, we figure something out, we make a good run, and we can get this thing worked out. Or we have a Celtic run of unimaginable proportions where we win our last 20-something games or something like that. You know what I mean? Like we just go on this run that's magical, and it's just like, oh, Locked On Bulls is the greatest show on earth again. Like it feels so good to be here. I'm hoping for positive things in the second half of the season, but I don't think that you could take the chance of falling outside of that top 4, because then what did you lose for? Exactly. Right. And I think that's the thing to me, 32%, right? Like if we're talking about, right, like the Bulls, and it does drop, right? If you drop to the 5th worst record, our odds climb to 42% to get a top 4 pick. But there's nobody coming out from Chicago this year that's going to be in the top 4. You know what I mean? Like it's just okay. Like I kind of see why the appeal might be there, but the NBA is not going to give us another layup right there. By the way, that's my conspiracy theory, right? Derrick Rose shouldn't have been here, but he was. That's all that matters. And I just don't think that you can take the chance. The one thing I love in the Casey Johnson article, he also points out Bulls have the 10th easiest schedule remaining for the rest of the way. So in theory, right, knowing this Bulls team, that would mean we'll lose all of these games because we continue to lose to the easiest teams that we're supposed to beat. But you know what? I'm not a fan of tanking. I don't think that you get better by tanking. I don't think that you build on anything by tanking, right? And the real question would be, who's the player that you're going, like, unless we get the number 1 pick, which I believe we have a 10% chance at, like, Wembanyama ain't coming through that door.
The way I look at it, like the tanking is so dangerous in the NBA because it's not a straightforward just whoever has the worst record gets the best pick. And that lottery percentage, that's what changes some things. And the Bulls very well could get the 7th overall pick again, and then it goes to Orlando Magic. I don't think, and I've been saying this for a while, that you tank in a season where you don't own your own first round pick outright, right? That's something that it just doesn't make any sense. And it made even less sense when people were saying, well, let's trade our players away to get worse, and then we can increase our chances at the pick. Hey, first of all, I don't know if you guys, newsflash, if you guys been watching this team, we've been increasing our chances without trading anybody away. So it looks like
what a 6-game losing streak. We are tanking right now.
But yeah, I mean, I just, and even for the people who want to see the roster blown completely up, I've already pointed out the reasons multiple times why it makes more sense to do that next season than this season. If you go into next season and in playing next season, you still are kind of disappointing. But I think right now the Bulls and I think this is what AK is willing to do too. You just let the averages play out.
Yeah. You
finish out the season. You add somebody at the buyout if you can that's going to come in and fit and wants to come here. You then let that season determine what it's going to be, and then you just ride out the process. You see where your pick falls in the lottery, and then you start making your offseason plans based around that.
And I think here's the thing that Bulls fans and fans of the NBA, right, may not have updated because I always see this, right? You got to go get this number one guy. You got to go find this guy. One guy ain't enough no more. Yeah. One guy's not doing nothing but giving you hope, right? Like the best players, right? James Wiseman got drafted. One guy. They didn't even run that guy out there.
Wow, bro. That's deep.
One guy. They didn't even run him out there. Anthony Edwards got drafted. They put him on a team that already had 2 guys on it. And then he was able to be added into the mix of them already having an ability to go out there and play basketball, right? Yeah. Like, so you're talking about in the NBA right now, you need 3 guys. This is the reason why I say we're at the best time in the NBA. Every single team has talent. Jalen Green is a really good talent. Alperen Sengun is a really freaking good talent. They are the worst team in the NBA.
That's a good point. You have to, it's so many things you need to get right to find success in the NBA that all have to come together. But here's the thing, and this is what I say, even if the Bulls do, let's say they look up, get number 1, number 2. Let's say they wind up with Scoot. I don't think that this team even then moves off most of their talent until they're sure that Scoot's going to turn into a superstar. I think AK would look at that and say, all right, let's see where he is in 2 years. If he's Scoot, where we think he is.
I'll say this. Scoot probably plays right away, right? Scoot probably.
He's playing right away.
You probably move off of DeMar if you get Scoot.
Yeah. But I'm saying for the Zach and all that, I don't think you do that now. Yep. If Scoot turns into a superstar and you're like, all right, we need to add some more players around this superstar. We need to do it before it's time for his rookie extension to be over. All right, let's take this $40 million and spread that out and go get him some people back with Zach's contract. But I don't think that they completely go into that full rebuild until they either draft the person that they clearly see as their next star, and they're just going to keep riding out the process. And we could be in for a long time with the Chicago Bulls team.
Well, here's the thing. That is the process of building a good team in the NBA. Yeah. You try to build the best team that you can until you find a superstar.
And then you go. That's what we did when it came to Derrick Rose, right?
Yeah, we literally just kept trying to build the best team that we could, and then Derrick Rose showed up, and we got hey.
Lucky. And then even then, we gave it 2 years, and we're like, all right, let's see what Derrick turns into. Oh, he's about to be a star. Let's go out and spend money this offseason.
He's the MVP. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so I think that's the part where, you know, a lot of it's, and I'll say this, even to that point, it's not that NBA anymore. You can't just go out and find Derrick Rose and he's gonna drag a team. Listen, I love that Bulls team. It was Derrick. I love that team, but that
especially
team that went up against the Celtics was Derrick.
Oh yeah, that was rookie.
Ben Gordon had 2 games, 2 like oh my god games.
I remember one specifically.
One with him first spray.
Yeah.
Where they was going back and forth, and then he had another one where he got hot. And
that was the overtime game, right? That was the same game where Rondo knocked out Brad Miller's tooth.
Yes, and when Kirk Heinrich was ready to throw them hands. Shout out to Kirk. Love Kirk. But you know what the thing is? This is not that NBA anymore.
Yeah.
You can't just have one guy and he's going to drag a team on its back. There's too much talent in this league right now. So even if you were to go out there and say we lose enough games while actually trying to get a top 4 pick and we draft Scoot or we end up with Wembanyama or whoever the player is, right? You still got to keep a lot of the dudes you got on this team right now because it's the only way that you're actually going to win. And the biggest problem, the question that I think you have to ask is, what puts you in a better position? Is it trying to just win out, do the best you can, try and make the playoffs for another year, and try and build on what you already know now going into next season? Or bringing in a rookie that you're hoping for the best with?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, and just to highlight that all thing, Brooklyn Nets had 3 legit superstars and ain't win a dang thing. It takes time to build a team, man. Like even the teams that go out and try to buy their superstars and put it together, it still takes time. And I know it sucks because we got a long process ahead of us before we get there.
Yep.
But hey, we'll be here talking about it here on Locked On Bulls. That's all I can say.
As long as we start moving in the right direction again, we moved in the right direction. We got hit in the mouth first half of the season. We took a big step back. This second half of the season, I need to see us just start showing me that you give a F about playing basketball in Chicago. Let's start there. If we get back to that point, all right, now we can sit here and talk about how do we improve on top of that, man. It ain't a 2-year thing, right? I know we were supposed to go get championship 7 this season, man. But hey, maybe if they had got their diet together, we'd be heading towards championship 7. You know what's helped me get my diet together? I'm talking about Built Bar here, man. I just got a new box of Built Bar in from Sam's Club, the 16-bar box, churro and the double chocolate. We out here slamming right now. I literally got the box in, open that bad boy up, slam the churro puffs. Y'all already know what the puffs is on, man. But Built Bar is so good. And what makes it so good is it's covered in 100% real chocolate. That is right. Real chocolate, and it comes in unbelievably good flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. And I'm not sure how they do it right, but they keep making this thing taste like a candy bar while maintaining amazing macros. What's even better, they are healthy. Only 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, a whopping 17 grams of protein. That's what I'm talking about, Built Bar. And you don't have to wait around to get a box anymore. For years, we've been telling y'all, go order your Built Bars at built.com with the promo code Locked On. Still works. Now you can go to your local Walmart or Sam's Club and get that box just like I did. Head to the nearest Walmart today, walk into the pharmacy section, grab yourself a box of Built Bars, pick up a 4-box of cookies and cream or double chocolate or the coconut puffs. And if you're at Sam's Club, you can run and grab the 13-bar box of the brownie batter and churro. You can thank me later. Promo code Locked On at built.com still works.
All right, Pat. So before we go today, we'd be remiss if we did not talk about Bulls legend Mac McClung bringing the dunk contest back.
Shout out to Mac, man. Shout out to Mac.
Hold on. Before we get into the positives,
I gotta talk about how bad some of them are, bro.
No. We're gonna talk about the Bulls fans that already are saying, "Oh, the Bulls missed on Mac McClung. He is not an NBA player." You're like, come on, let's calm down, bro.
I saw Cyrus from Locked On Warriors like we should have gave him a 2-way contract when he was here. I'm like, listen, bro, he can dunk.
He can dunk.
He's not that good at basketball.
He's
better than me, but he's not NBA basketball ready. Like, come on, dog. Like, he's Shannon Brown for today. You know what I mean? Like, shout out to Shannon Brown, man. But like, Shannon Brown never could get the jump shot right, so he wasn't gonna play in this league. I don't know, man.
Yeah, man. You gotta love. I love our fans, bro. But Lord knows, Bulls fans could overreact to some stuff. But continue. Let's go into the positive.
Well, let me ask you this: was Mac great? Because Mac was great, but was he great because the rest of the competition, outside of what's so boy? I can't think of his name now. Terry. So boy went up against in the finals.
Jesus.
Oh, this is terrible. Now we look bad because that tells you the dunk contest, right? The fact that we can do this. Hey, NBA, get it together. But Jericho Sims, my God,
bro, never Jericho Sims. Why would they let Jericho Sims in the dunk contest?
Let me say this: the leaping ability is amazing. I want to
take more than that. The
leaping ability is amazing, but the creativity was god awful. You made Karl Malone look away. But on top of that, Mac McClung did an excellent job, man. I loved every dunk he did. I love the fact that he did every single dunk the first time and made it like the dunk contest used to be. And I think it proves a major point. If you can't find 4 people to do the dunk contest, which I've said it, you're not going to find it. Players
find the best dunkers from around the world.
Find the best dunkers from the G League, from around the world, and bring them to the dunk contest, and you let them do the dunk contest. Because you're not. This is the point I made on Twitter that has people going back and forth. You won't see stars do the dunk. Anthony Edwards has already said, "I'll never do the dunk contest." John Moran has already said, "I will never do the dunk contest."
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's like, they just scared to lose. They're not scared to lose. The stipulations that come now, Ja's a little different. Anthony and is probably a little different at this point too. But the stipulation that comes from you doing the dunk contest is usually, oh, he's a dunker.
That's a fact.
And that makes it really hard to go into contract negotiations and say, hey, I'm more than just a dunker.
Well, I mean, I would hope that NBA GMs are a little bit more intelligent than that to say somebody's just a dunker. And they do their research on these players. But the thing that I look at with this dunk contest is I think it highlights how important it is to get people who can do it on the first. Like, as we kept adding more and more attempts at these dunks, bro, the dunk contest has gotten considerably worse. It started off with what I think you had 3 attempts at it. And then
it's 3 again. It's 3 again now. So you get 3 attempts, but you
then
get
they put you a timer for the 3rd attempt. That's stupid.
It's you're doing too much, dog. Like, here's the thing.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be sitting here debating how the dunk contest works. It's simple. I want to see dudes dunk a basketball like Mac McClung did. I want to see, and man, he came through, and I love the creativity. I love the ability. I love I mean, listen, it also, can we stop getting 7-footers in this thing, bro? Like, I'm not that impressed seeing a 7-foot dude dunk.
I mean, they have to be what Dwight Howard did in his dunk contest win. But at this point, I just get the best dunkers from around the world, bro. Get the best dunkers. Everybody gets 2 attempts each at it. Let's keep it, and let's find the people. Let's actually go out and recruit the best dunkers for the dunk contest. Let's make it that way where we can expose, because there's some great dunkers in street ball out there that the world never sees unless you're ingrained in that and doing those searches on YouTube. Let's turn it into that, and then maybe the superstars start wanting to get involved in the dunk contest again, because, hey, man, this was fun to see, and it was fun to see just the creativity and the fact that a lot of Mac McClung's dunks, you appreciated them seeing them, but then when you saw it in slow motion, you realized he did some things that you couldn't see understand in real time.
Hey, like the first one, when he tapped it, and
then
here, oh my God, I'm running around the crib. I'm like, he tapped it. And I'm gonna tell you this right now. This is exactly how you do it. You turn this into a competition. You want to get stars back in the dunk contest? Start making, and it don't make your brand look bad, but make it the G League versus the NBA. Remember, because that's when, right, like when they was sending college kids over there to represent USA, and I know that's a bigger scale, right? But to represent USA, and they was out there getting their butts kicked, all of a sudden it was, nah, bro, we not doing that. We'll see you over there, right? When the stars stopped going, and the USA got what we get? We got bronze, I think, in the Olympics. And then all of a sudden LeBron and Kobe was like, nah, we can't do this, bro. Let's go. Let's go really work these mugs out and show them what we really do in basketball. Like, you got to make this a competition to them for real. Put it to NBA versus the G League. You go get 2 dudes from the NBA. You get 2 dudes. Because the G League go win. Because the G League got pure athletes.
Yeah.
You give it 2 years of that and the G League come out and kick the NBA butt. All of a sudden, you're going to see 39-year-old LeBron James out there talking about I got a couple windmills left in me.
Yeah. Keep LeBron. Like, he's...
I
would love to see John in the dunk contest, though.
I would love to see John a dunk contest. He'll never do it. Anthony Edwards has already said he'll never do it. Shaden Sharp is the one I was most looking forward to, just because of his leaping ability and his creativity with the leaps. But I'm gonna be real with you. Zach and Aaron broke the dunk contest.
Oh, for sure.
Zach and Aaron broke the dunk contest. That's still the greatest. That's the greatest dunk contest of all time, dog.
I mean, it's hard to argue with that. I mean, it's
like that and Jordan versus who was it? Dominique? Wasn't it Jordan versus Dominique? And Dominique.
Bro, and that was 2016 was the second time Zach and Aaron Gordon were in the dunk contest. Yep. Since then, the dunk contest winners: Glenn Robinson III. I don't even know if he's still in the league. Donovan Mitchell. I didn't even know he won a dunk contest, which is bananas.
Yeah, he did.
Diallo won a dunk contest in 2019. Derrick Jones Jr. in 2020.
DJJ, I remember.
Anthony Simons in 2021. And Obi Toppin last year. And then Mac McClung.
And you want to know what the sad part is?
Uh-huh.
I don't remember nobody else that they competed against.
I don't. I remember most of the winners, but I don't even remember some of their dunks.
I don't remember none of DJJ's dunks. I don't remember none of Obi Toppin's. His was last year. He did a side of the backboard one, I think, like a side of the backboard windmill, I think. I think he did it like Zach did. That tells you where the contest is at. Mac might have brought it back, though, man. Shout out to Mac McClung, man. He might have brought that mug back for us. Hopefully.
Let's see.
Hopefully, hey, man, clap it up for Mac. Clap it up. Clap it up for Mac McClung, man. Clap it up for Mac McClung out here, man. Shout out to y'all, man.
All right, Pat,
every time. That's the greatest clip of all.
That's so funny.
Hey, man, follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat The Designer. Shout out to y'all for showing love.
You can follow me at CEO Haize, CEO Haize. And thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen today. Now for your second listen, go and check out Game to Game NBA. Every moment, every top performance, every result. Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across the NBA with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On NBA, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. For Pat the Designer, this has been Locked On Bulls. We out, y'all. Peace.
He's Haize, by the way.
Did I say who did I say I was?
You said for Pat the Designer. This is Locked On Bulls.
That's always how I sign off. For Pat the Designer. I'm Haize. Oh, I missed the I'm Haize
there
part.
It is.
There it goes. Peace, y'all.
Question me.
You're a questionable brother.
Not with all the questionable statements you've made on the last few pods.
You've made quite a few yourself.